Hi everyone, welcome back to the London Premier League show. And today our special guest is Brooklyn. How are you doing?
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. Right. So first topic today, the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This should have happened weeks ago, but it's finally happened. I'll start with Brooklyn. Your thoughts on that sacking?
Well, I think everyone's very coming with losses he started happening, and it was just all about to happen, to be honest. Well, I'm happy to be honest, he got sacked because I've just had enough of his football. It's just the same old thing. We concede, and somehow we want to come back and win the game, but it didn't work out this time, and he's finally got sacked, losing to Watford.
Yeah, I agree with that. Resantford, Manchester United fan, you?
Yeah, I think it's well overdue. I mean, it was basically on borrowed time. My only fear now is how the rest of the season is going to play out because I think all my expectations are now out the window. I think getting top four now is the best we can achieve. I think getting that is a miracle. Maybe FA Cup, but I don't have high hopes for the rest of the season. I have to see how the next season goes and just pray for the best.
Yeah, so I've been reading like the headlines and Ralph Ragnick coming in probably as an interim for the rest of the season. James, what do you think of this appointment? Because I think I've heard he might go to director of football role, take up a role like on the board, and maybe he might appoint the next manager. How do you think this will work out?
That never works. That never works, that sort of system. You can't have someone there and then they just go upstairs because their philosophy will still be in the club. And would it be good enough? Going back to Ollie's sacking, one question I want to ask the Sanford and Brooklyn is that when you were losing 2-1 in the 90th minute against Watford, if you hadn't have conceded them two late goals, would he have kept his job?
I think he might have, but
I'm 100, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So really, he lost his job in that injury time moment. And that's what really tipped the balance, which shows you the shambolic situation Man United are in at the moment at the top. The people that are running the club have not got a clue. Because he would have still been in his job, Ollie, if they just lost 2-1. So it sums up he should have gone weeks ago. That's their biggest mistake. They were too loyal to him. Even now he has gone, he's still got that legendary status. People are still saying how good he is, what a player he was. It just didn't work out. So he's still got all that. This new guy coming in for 6 months for me isn't really worth it unless he does what he wants to do and isn't dictated by certain players in that club. The problem Ollie had, he didn't know his first 11 and he didn't have a system that played. He wasn't as strong as a Pep or a Klopp or a Pochettino to sort of get that right connection. This guy coming in will do that, but at what cost? Can Ronaldo sit on the bench occasionally? That's the question you've got to ask. Will he play Carvalho? Whatever, That's the question. So will he do it? I don't know.
I agree with that, and also I know the Glazers, they like yes men in charge, like, so they wouldn't want someone to come and challenge them as well. That's why I think Ed Woodward. I question his like football knowledge. I think he's just a businessman, so I'm not sure how United, if they will allow Ragnick to move to like a director of football or an executive role on the board. Not sure about that. But last question on Oli Sakin. McKenna and Carrick, Mourinho, his assistant manager throughout his whole career was Farrier, and he left him after they came second. And then Ed Woodward and the Glazers, they gave Mourinho, Carrick, and McKenna. They promoted them. They promoted McKenna from the youth team. They saw, and then Mourinho was gone 3-4 months later. He was gone by Christmas. They lost to Liverpool, and now they've been in charge. They've been Ollie's assistants and seen Ollie sacked as well. Should they have been sacked as well? That's what I think. I think they should have gone. They should have sacked Ollie and the whole coaching staff.
I think the whole management team should have gone. The whole management team should have gone.
Yeah, I personally think. I think it's better to keep. I think it's better to sack all the coaches and keep Ollie.
Yeah.
It's better to sack because Ollie's one man. Ollie's 25% of the coaching team.
It's just embarrassing that Carrick's there managing the team. Like, you were part of Solskjaer's team, well, you were there managing with him. So of course you have to go. Why are you gonna stay there? It just doesn't make sense to me why he stayed. It just doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, because if he makes the changes, why didn't he make the changes with Ollie? Why didn't he convince Ollie that why don't you play this? Why don't you play that? What's going to change is nothing. The only reason they didn't sack all the coaching staff is that, again, going back to the top of Man United, They made that decision on Ollie and then suddenly thought, well, we can't get rid of the rest because who's going to manage the team? They didn't have anything in place. If they got rid of all of Ollie's staff, who would then have picked up the baton to, play the last Champions League game this week, play Chelsea this weekend? Because you can't just manufacture a manager straight away. So that's why they kept him. But that's because of lack of planning. Ollie should have gone 3 or 4 weeks ago. They should have been planning this for 3 or 4 weeks and had someone on an interim basis already lined up with his own coaching staff to come straight in. They didn't do that. They panicked. They were sitting pretty 2-1 down at Watford, thinking, okay, that's not as bad. 4 minutes into injury time, they're 4-1 lost. It's a bigger defeat. They're 2 away games. They've lost by 4 goals. They haven't lost for 30 odd games away from home. Their last 2, they lost by 4 goals. They panicked, got rid of him, kept the rest. I think they'll all go in the summer because whoever they bring in will have to bring in fresh coaching systems, coaches, and all of that. You can't. It's like you look at it, most clubs have to have. Here's a question for you, Sion. Who's on the bench who's an ex-Chelsea player in the Chelsea setup, in the management? Anyone?
Yeah, no. Lampard, we had Jody Morris.
Yeah, Jody Morris and all of that.
Lampard got
even Mourinho and previous managers had someone. It's like West Ham are doing well because they've got a couple of ex-players like Nolan, Stuart Pearce. You could have one, but then
have too many.
You could have too many, and they're all like, it's all the Manchester way. Well, the Manchester way hasn't worked for how many years now?
Yeah.
So they've got to change it. They've got to be brave, and they've got to change the whole system of their coaching. And to do that, you bring in a manager that's going to have full control, bring his own staff, and get on with it. And there's no egos. Yeah, it's lovely having Ronaldo back. I'm sure it is. But what's he done? Yeah, he's won you a few Champions League matches. He's scored a couple of Premier League goals. But can you afford to have him in the Premier League week in, week out?
Yeah. Right. So moving into the latest Premier League games now. Which game should we start with? We'll stick with James. West Ham versus Wolves versus West Ham.
Yeah, that's already gone, Sion. We lost 1-0. We were off the radar a bit. It just happens. But I can't believe how my phone lit up so much after that game, as if we'd beaten the week before when we beat Liverpool convincingly. I thought we'd won the game. There's people messaging me saying, "Oh, it's falling apart. Oh, here we go." It's one game. It's one game, and we didn't win. To me, that shows the panic in a lot of these Chelsea, Man United.
Wait, who messaged you, by the way? He's not talking about me. He's not talking about me. I never messaged you.
Sion, believe it or not, mate, you're not really a mate, so I wouldn't expect you to message me, yeah?
Well.
You know what I mean? Like, you're blocked sort of like weekends. You can't message me at weekends.
Yeah, it's true.
Chelsea,
That's why you messaging me when we were drawing 0-0 to Newcastle, and then full time you disappeared.
No, that was because at 0-0, you were convinced that Kurt Zuma was going to score an own goal against Aston Villa.
Oh, yeah. Where was he for the Wolves goal then? Where was he? Was he playing? Where was he? Rice? Any of them willing to block that shot? Jimenez? No?
Can I just come back to something I said before we started recording, yeah? Let's see what happens at the end of the season. Yeah, we might have to replay this recording at the end of the season for Sion when Chelsea ended up with nothing, and they'd be saying, "Oh, second place is like what Wenger was going on about for years, saying finishing the top four is a trophy."
We've won a trophy.
He's going to mention we've already won the Super Cup. We've already won.
Yeah. Don't forget that. Glad you remembered.
You only had to play one game to win it.
No, but you wouldn't know anything about this. You wouldn't know anything about this. You've got to win a trophy the previous season to qualify.
That's right, Sion. The previous season. We're talking about this season.
Yeah, I won a trophy.
On to last season. Got you into a final and you played one game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, when West Ham, I'm sure if you win the Carabao Cup, you'll be the first one messaging me.
Yeah, because it's the season.
Yeah,
but season. We played about 5 games to get to the final.
Trophies are trophies. Trophies are trophies. But
the biggest problem we've got, Sion, in this one, on all seriousness, yeah, because I don't like to sort of, keep sort of, winning an argument. But the only biggest problem is it's just interesting that the 2 Man United fans on here can't say anything because they're just as bad.
Well, they're worse. They're the worst. Just as bad. They're worse.
They're sitting back thinking, lovely. Let's continue with that because then it's less mention of how poor Man United are.
Should we talk about Watford United or do you just move on?
Up to you guys. I mean, the game was shambolic. It was so bad that I couldn't even watch it. It was a 3 p.m. game.
Talk to us about Maguire. Talk to us about Maguire, you two. Is he that bad? Is he bad out of form? Did he get
Before
it
Man
back?
United bought Maguire, before we were linking him, I don't think any Man United player, fan, said he was good. They wanted him in the club. Next thing you know, we bought him for 80 million. And just look, absolutely shambolic. The problem with me, Maguire, he takes too long on the ball. Like, Sandro just release it. He likes the players to come towards him, then pass the ball. He's done that so many times, and that's where we can see that goes. Oh, I don't even know what to say to him. It hurts me talking about Maguire. It just hurts me.
I mean, I know obviously he's suspended for the game, but should he have been dropped anyways? Like, it's taken a red card for him to like miss a game. I think he should have been dropped like a couple of weeks ago. I think maybe after the Liverpool game, I think. I mean, I don't know you guys' opinions on that. I think he should.
But the thing is that we wouldn't have dropped him because after his England performance, saying with his when he did this as well, saying I'm back. Well, you can't really drop him from doing that, can you? And he just comes back and does another disaster. It's classic Maguire, isn't it?
Okay, we'll move on to Liverpool Arsenal. That was probably the biggest game of the weekend. I mean, Arsenal is the same old story at Anfield. I knew once I was like, I know Arsenal, they've been in good form. I was like, I would look forward to seeing like how they do. They did well in the first half.
Yeah.
And then that goal just before half time, I was like, okay, if Arsenal, if they can keep it at 1-0 after an hour, maybe stay in the game. But after the Tavares, the error, and Liverpool went 2-0 up, I knew it was going to be 3-4. I knew it. I knew Arsenal would fall apart at that stage. But I don't know if any of you guys got to see the game.
I think Arsenal's defense was just too inexperienced. Too many mistakes led to goals.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal doing well. I mean, most of those goals came from errors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think the like Arsenal, they kept Liverpool, like the fans, quiet in the first half. And I think Arteta, I think the beef with Klopp, I think that bros, that gave the crowd energy. I don't think Arteta should have done that, to be honest. Because like the fans, Liverpool, they usually first 15, 20 minutes, the fans, they're up for it, they're loud, but it was quite subdued for the first 20, 30 minutes. But I don't know. I don't think Arteta should have done that. James?
No, I agree with you. I'm just thinking and looking at the league table, and you sort of think like, despite that result for Arsenal, you look at where they are. They're fifth in the table, 20 points. I don't think none of us would have thought that about a month ago when their disastrous start to the season. I think it's just that the Stamford hit the nail on the head. They were too inexperienced at the back, and they gave Liverpool a couple of goals. And a team like Liverpool, team like City, team like Chelsea, you can't give them chances because they will take them. They will snap that up. Mo Salah's on fire. They had such a dominance when the ball was given away. They jumped on it, and they were comfortable. I don't even know what the disagreement was about with Arteta and Klopp. It was over nothing, but it was some sort of tackle with Mane. He was getting a little bit reckless with his tackles, but like, you're right. I just think it just ignited the stadium a bit, really. And then you knew really that the goal goes in, then whoever scores it's going to be in control of that game. But Arsenal, you've got to credit Arsenal. There was a lot of talk on our podcast early on, the first couple we did, about how Arsenal are going to struggle and all of that. But Arteta's doing something. And then recently he's talking about he wants Arsene Wenger to come back in some sort of capacity to be part of some sort of Arsenal sort of, not coaching or anything, but just to be there as some sort of, not director of football, but just maybe a consultant. That can only be a positive thing, really, because Arsenal need to get back to sort of, that sort of top team that they were all them years ago. But, I think Liverpool are quietly going about their business in comparison to like Man City and Chelsea. And don't be surprised if Liverpool are sitting near the top or if top at Christmas.
Yeah. Okay, I'll move into our game now. The early kickoff. We played Leicester away. First game back after the international break. I was a bit worried about this game, to be honest, going into it, because I know Leicester, like, our record there's not great. Hadn't won there since 2017. I think our first half performance, definitely in terms of the league, that was our best first half this season. And it's the first like game our attacks looked kind of fluid, because I know a lot of games our defenders score a lot of goals. I mean, and then our attacks looked a bit disjointed and we scraped wins and stuff like that. But against Leicester in the first half, that's our best in terms of specifically the attack. That's our best probably half of football this season. And it was a deserved win. I know once Kante scored, it was pretty much game over at 2-0. And Leicester, I mean, even at halftime, I was like, surely they can't be that bad in the second half, as bad as they were in the first half. And They did nothing as well, pretty much. So yeah, it was a good win for us, and good to bounce back, because the last game before the international break was we dropped 4 points at home to Burnley. We drew that game when we shouldn't have. So it was a good way to bounce back in the league. Yeah, and I'm really happy with that. So Man City, Everton. Everton, I think Everton are a disgrace, man. They're a disgrace. I mean, Man City, they put up no fight. Everton, I know they lost just before the international break, or I think 2 or 3 games before that. They were 2-1 up to Watford after 75 minutes at home and lose 5-2. I just don't know how you can do that. And then against Man City, I'm not expecting them to go to Man City and win or even get a draw, but I'm expecting more of a performance than they put up. Like, they hardly left their half, like the whole game, especially the first half. I don't know if any of you guys saw that game. Anyone?
I think Everton it's all over the place, Manager coming in after Ancelotti left, certain players barely came in for the manager, like James Rodriguez. I remember there was a few news going around that he didn't know who was versing in the next game. I mean, to come out and say that's quite embarrassing on behalf of the player and the club. And then bringing in Benitez, former Liverpool managers, is very questionable. How can you trust his true intentions? Is he going to bring success to the club, or try his best at just play path forward for them?
Yeah, I agree with that. And with the Benitez thing as well, the Everton fans, obviously he's winning the Champions League at Liverpool, somewhat a legend at Liverpool. If he doesn't turn this around quickly, the Everton fans will turn against him. Like the next 5 games, I don't know who Everton are playing. Actually, I do know. I saw it come up on the screen. They've got difficult games coming up, I think. I think they've got the Merseyside derby coming up. So he's going to need to get a result against Liverpool to get the fans back on side. James, anything to say on Everton?
Well, I'm a massive fan of Rafa Benitez. I love him. I just think he's an amazing coach, manager. I think it's a difficult patch. I think he started really well at Everton. I think he proved a few people wrong in the first few games. I think he got them going. I just think they've had a little bit of misfortune with some injuries and that. But I think Rosantham again just hits something that's quite important. I think there's certain players there that don't really want to be there anymore because they preferred the previous manager. So I expect January there might be a little bit of a clear out, bring in 1 or 2 players. I think they'd be all right, but as the biggest thing is being all right, is that going to be enough for Everton fans in the situation of where Rafa's come from? Maybe not. But if he keeps them in the top half of the Premier League, maybe an FA Cup run, who knows? But the real test will be when he plays like Liverpool. Not plays like them as in every week. I mean, when he versus them in the Merseyside derbies. If he picks up 2 draws in both of them, that could be good. Or he picks up a win. Things change very quickly in football. If he does it, but I think he's under a lot of pressure. But we go to City on Sunday, so David Moyes will be in the same position as what Rafa will. But we'll see what happens.
Brooklyn?
Well, for me, I think just when whoever plays against Everton, I just think Everton's not a good team in general. When you watch them play, it's just not interesting when you watch them play. It's like normally when Calvert-Lewin's there, just cross the ball and he'll just leap and just score. But other than that, it's like Ole there. They have no tactics. Just rely on Calvert-Lewin. When he's not there, it's just shambles to me. Honestly, I think Everton, I don't even know if they're making a top 10. I just think they have no tactics whatsoever. Although Rafa Benitez is a good manager, don't get me wrong. I just feel the team is just they're not good enough for Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, I agree.
They got a big game on Sunday.
Yeah.
They're away at Brentford. Brentford haven't had that many good results recently, so Brentford had a good start to the season. Everton did. That would be quite a good game, but it's at Brentford, so. But I think Everton have got to win that really just to get back into it. But then that causes problems for Brentford, really. I think.
All right, so moving into this weekend's fixtures, going to preview Man City versus West Ham. We'll start with that one, James.
Tough, but I think I can go there, and West Ham fans can go there a little bit more confidence. But I think it's still going to be tough. I think we had a good result last night in the Europa League. So albeit we got 1 more game left in that, but we qualified. We haven't got to do the knockout phase, so we're straight into the last 16, finishing top. That would give them a bit of confidence. He rested Fabianski and Antonio. They didn't even travel. So that's good. That gave them a rest. There's a few players that played who we sort of think like need a rest, but they're just too good, like people like Souček, Cresswell, people like that. But it's going to be tough. I just think if we can hold out and do well, I'm not going to be sitting here saying, "Oh, we could go up there and win," but I think we just got to, because of the result against Wolves, we got to be careful here that supposedly another wheel of the bus comes off if we lose to City. But I think I'll take a point. If we can grab a point, then I'll be pleased with that going into then 2 home games in the Premier League that follow that against Brighton and Chelsea. So I think Sunday's a key game. I think they've got De Bruyne's out with COVID.
Yeah.
I think he's going to bring back Foden and maybe Grealish. So they've got an array of players that they can bring in. But then people keep forgetting that, when West Ham go and play in Europe, David Moyes, it's the 5th time we played in Europe, and it's about the 5th time he's made 7 or 8 changes to the team. So we're doing the same, but obviously it's not as much quality as what City have got. But we are resting players, and they're on the bench or they're not even travelling. So Antonio's got to be the key. He's got to be on fire, and we're missing one of our key players for the rest of the season in Bonner. So Bonner's going to be a miss, but Dawson's come in. But whether Dawson's up against Man City is a different kettle. But he's never let us down. So I'll take a point now, but it's going to be tough. But we're hopeful.
And score prediction?
Score prediction, I think, let me just have a little look here because it will be based on, I think the score prediction, possibly 1-1, I would like for, but I'll go 1-1.
All right. I'll go next on this game. Obviously, me and James, we've got our banter with West Ham and Chelsea, but obviously, strategic supporting, I'll be supporting West Ham for this game. Obviously, City in the league. And I agree with James. I think this will be a tight game. I know City on paper, obviously, they're very strong. But I know West Ham, they've given City quite a few close games at the Etihad, especially like in recent years. I know last year was a John Stones winner, like about 20 minutes to go. And I know I saw West Ham rested couple players in the Europa League yesterday, being already through, and I think you might have won the group already. I know you're unbeaten. So I was actually going to say, I was going to say 1-1 as well. I mean, I know I'll surprise a few people here. Obviously, City, I know City are the favourites, but I need
You don't surprise me, Sion. You don't surprise me. You often follow me, and you often follow my knowledge.
I already had 1-1. I already had 1-1.
We hadn't qualified until before kickoff. We got second place. We wanted top place. We finally.
Well, I mean, I just
but you often follow me, so I'll happily take that 1-1. Anyway, Brooklyn, what do you think before he starts changing his mind?
Yeah, listen. I already had 1-1 written down before the podcast, but you think that? You think that?
I personally think there'll be a lot of goals in the game. I think it'd be 2-2. I just feel like Man City, obviously, they still don't have a striker, but they're still scoring goals. I think West Ham might just have the edge because of the counter-attacks that they have and the quality of the players have been such as like Antonio, Benrahma, and even Declan Rice. I think it would just be a close call 2-2 for me.
No way. Imagine no one predicts a Man City win. Rosanford, you're predicting a Man City win. There's no way.
I'm going to go 3-0. I think just based on head-to-head, Man City have always won. I think they barely concede to West Ham, no more than 1 goal. I don't see it changing. It's almost like Liverpool and Arsenal. Arsenal go to Anfield, get thrashed. It's just nothing changes.
Okay, wait, what was your score prediction? I missed it.
3-0. 3-0.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I don't think I've seen a podcast where no one predicts a Man City win. When Brooklyn said 2-2, I was like, no, Rosanford's definitely gonna go Man City. But Chelsea, Man United, I'll start with us being the home team. I mean, Man United, we have to beat Man United. I mean, before the start of the season, this would have been a game. This would have been a game where you would say potentially it would have a massive impact on the top of the league or being near the top of the league. I know United are not in the greatest form right now. I thought they would have appointed a new manager for this game with the new manager bounce and everything, but it looks like maybe that might be in place for Arsenal at home, Arsenal being your first home game in the league for a while. We've got injuries. I know United have injuries. Brooklyn and Rosanford will talk about that. We've got Chilwell. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Chilwell. He's got some problem with his ACL now. And obviously ACLs, usually that means you're out for the rest of the season. I know Ogbonna's got that injury as well, and they ruled him out straight away. So when I saw that, I thought he's out for the rest of the season. But Tuchel's done his preview for the United game. He said Chilwell's out for 6 weeks, so he's out until January, and then they'll decide, the medical team will have to decide if he has to have an operation or not, which will mean rest of the season. So that's a massive blow for us. And we've also got Kante. Kante's out. He's done something with his knee, twisted it or something like that in one of our recent matches. So he's out as well. But I mean, obviously, Man United, we're at home as well. We're at home. We have to win this game. We haven't beaten United in the league for 4 years as well. Been a bit of a bogey team for us in the Premier League. But I'll go 2-0. I'll go 2-0. 2-0 home win for us. We need the 3 points. We need to keep the momentum going in the Premier League. I'll pass on to Razanthan United.
Yeah, I think going into this game, all the odds are in the favour of Chelsea. You know, new manager, everything's a disarray at the club. You know, we have a few players out. Maguire, red card suspension. Green was tested positive. I think Cavani's out. So attacking wise, we're not looking great. We don't really have depth in the bench either. So I don't really see us scoring. So I think it has to be a thing where we have to just settle for a draw and just hope for the best. But I'm gonna go with what Sion said, 2-0. I think it's gonna be a Chelsea win.
Well, obviously, all of you probably gonna hate me, but I think that Man United can actually just scrape the win. Because obviously with the new manager, I don't know whether it's confirmed. They just like said he appointed him, but I don't know whether he's in for this game or probably Arsenal. But I just feel like Sancho obviously had a good game in the Champions League, which he can create something. Ronaldo's just there for clutches if we need him. I just feel like we can just salvage or probably a win or a draw. I just feel like because they don't want to. Solskjaer's been sacked, and everyone's like want to play for themselves now. They want to prove themselves. So I just feel like we can actually win that game. Just luckily, but hopefully we don't get smacked 4-0. I'm just hoping that we can actually win at least 2-1 or 2-0.
And quickly, question for Razanthan and Brooklyn before I come to James. Should Van der Beek, he deserves to start this game surely because I mean I know he started in midweek, but that was Champions League, and even against Watford, he came off the bench and he's probably your man of the match, even though he only played half the game. So he deserves to start this game surely, no? Does he not?
After you, Razanthan.
I think he definitely does deserve a start. And with Pogba being injured, I think there's no better time for him to come in. I think we need to get over this McFred thing. He just can't continue. It's a joke. I think you can have one or two in the squad, but both of them just don't work together well. So I think Van der Beek definitely, maybe in a more defensive role, and then maybe push him up and take Bruno off, depending on how the game goes. But he definitely deserves a start.
Well, I agree with him. I want him to start, but at the same time, I'll see Carrick play McFred as usual, but like I just don't think he's good enough. He's good, don't get me wrong, but I just feel Bruno will always be here because Bruno's got that vision. He's got everything, Bruno. But I just feel Van der Beek, you can't take off Fred or McTominay because if you take off McTominay, we need the hype from McTominay. But if you take off Fred, I don't know. Fred is a problem for Man United.
Matic and Van der Beek.
No, I'm done. No, Matic. No, I'm done with Matic. Matic can't run. Matic is finished. He is finished.
Fred and Van der Beek. Van der Beek 6 foot something, 6'1", I think 6'2", something like that.
Is he?
Yeah, he's 6 foot. I think he's pretty sure he's like 6'1", like but, not massive.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's too black. Just McTominay gives that presence. He's a bit rough. I like that. Fred covers a lot of ground, but he covers the wrong type of ground, man. He's just just Fred. He's just not that type of player. But like at the same time, you need that balance. I don't know. If he deserves a start, but I just don't know why I put him.
All right, James, Chelsea, Man United.
Yeah, it's interesting listening to you lot because I'm picking up on a few things. I think there's a big factor is this new interim manager. They've appointed him. He'll be there, whether he's actually on the bench or whether he's just there watching. I think these players have got to step up now. If Ollie meant anything to them, they got to step up. If the new manager means anything to them, they got to want him to play for Man United. So I think key players will step up. Brooklyn said something, it's crisis. I think it is crisis now. And I think when there's a crisis, there's only one man that can save Man United in a crisis on the pitch, and that's Ronaldo. This is a massive game for him. This is the games he's been wanting to come back for. Chelsea away, prove a point. I have a sneaky feeling he will be proving a point in the game. Whether it's enough to win the game, I hope it is. I hope it is because obviously it helps us as West Ham because we're looking to be towards the top. So that'll be points dropped by Chelsea. But I don't know whether it will be. Chelsea are on fire. They're talking about Tuchel's 50th game coming up, or he's had it. He's only conceded 22 goals in them 50 games. They're looking good at that. James is on form. You know, they're looking good. They're looking good.
James, I thought you were talking about yourself for a minute, and then I remember.
Well, you know I look good. You know I look good for my age. Yeah. And I can play a bit of football, and I can coach you, see, onto the ability that you have at the moment. Limited, but good enough. But yeah, I just think Ronaldo will create something. If it's enough, then it'd be a good start for Man United, and Chelsea could drop points. Is it enough to win the game? Probably not, if I'm realistic. Do I want them to win the game? Yeah, I'd love Man United to win 2-1 with a Ronaldo winner. Just like Champions League games. Will it happen? No. So I'm going to err on the side of caution. I think Chelsea don't want to lose the game. Man United need to take something. So here it comes, lads. Yet again, I'm not sitting on the fence, but I'm going to go 2-2 with Ronaldo doing something in the game that generates that 2-2.
Right. So quickly before we wrap up, I'll ask all of you, who do you think United's captain should be? It shouldn't be Harry Maguire. I'll start off with.
But it won't be on Sunday, will it? So that's
as in like permanent captaincy.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Permanent
Roy Keane.
Was that fun?
I think it has to be Ronaldo, just straight up.
Oh!
There's no his arrogance, his ego. It just suits the captain role. I think, depending on how long he stays there, I would like to see Bruno as vice captain. But for now, there's only one man for it, and that's Ronaldo.
Brooklyn.
There's only two between Ronaldo or Bruno. Like those only two. You can't be anyone because they're young. Can't be Fred McTominay. Just clueless as usual. Wan-Bissaka, don't even include him. You sure? No. It's just Bruno and Ronaldo's the only two options.
James.
Do I dare put us? If it's Man United old days, it'd be McTominay. That's the Man United way. But I agree with the boys. I think Ronaldo's got a good shout, and Bruno, or the goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For me, before Bruno, I would put De Gea. Probably put De Gea as vice captain behind Ronaldo. That's what I would have said.
But with the goalkeeper as a captain, like you can't really do much when something's gone against your team. Unless he has to run all the way there. Like you need someone on the. I
always like I don't know me. I always like the captain to like see the whole pitch. Like I always like captain to be I like defenders or goalkeepers. Like obviously Ronaldo, I understand it, legend and stuff like that. I always like the goalkeeper, like the person that to have a wide view of the pitch so they can see everything. But yeah, that's me.
They need, the thing that's missing as well is someone leading them.
Yeah.
At the moment, Maguire's leading them, but he's in such a bad form, no one's really paying attention. They need a leader in that team. They need a Roy Keane. That's what they need. They need someone like that. But who it is, I think Ronaldo's your man, because I think, there's a lot of talk, will they ever put him on the bench, whatever, blog. Give him the captaincy, make him play every game, and just build your team around him at the moment. He's not going to be backtracking as much as he did before. He's 36, isn't he? But give him the ball, he's going to light it up like he has done in the Champions League. That's why I think his time is coming. His time is coming for Sunday. Chelsea have got to be careful. But, I don't think Man United's time's running out. They've got to do something on Sunday.
Yeah.
They've got rid of Ollie. They've got something in place. They've got to show it now. And then players have got to play. It'll be nice because hopefully we would have beaten Man City by the time that kicks off. So I'll be sitting back watching, a good game of football, Chelsea, Man United. And then I might be texting Sion halfway through or something and telling him well done or unlucky.
Man, knowing this, I just know Razanfon's predictions coming through 3-0 City, isn't it? He's the only one that's predicted the City win.
Yeah, of course it is. But Razanfon won't be texting me saying, ha ha, here we go.
I wouldn't text you. I wouldn't text you either. It's Man City. I don't expect West Ham to get anything from that.
See Brooklyn, Razanfon. You see how defensive he gets straight away.
Yeah, I know. The only reason I predicted a draw is because
he's still going on about it.
The draw helps us. Deep down, I know what's going to happen. Deep down, I know what's going to happen. But anyway, guys, that's the end of today's podcast. Like, subscribe, and share if you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon.